You want me to run downstairs and grab you a replacement?
I might have one in Chambers.
Let me put Gren in there.
Okay, Shannon, put us on the record, please.
Got it.
And let's see, this is somebody's got a YouTube playing in the background. If you could mute that, please.
Mom, come help me. I'm coming. Just a second. I'm trying to figure it out.
Judge, for the record, my client is here in my office with me.
Okay, this is the matter of Donahue versus Wisner. And we're here on plaintiff's motion, or evidentiary hearing on plaintiff's motion to change custody. So, let me get up to speed here quickly.
Should we let that load? Right there in front of your finger.
Current custody arrangement is dad has physical custody, primary physical custody, and mom has reasonable rights of parenting time. Is that correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
All right. And what specifically are you seeking, Ms. Donahue, in terms of a change in that custody arrangement?
I'm asking for full custody. Joshua has stated to me many times that he would like to live with me, and
Your Honor, I object
feel
to
that he would
anything
do
the child
really
has
good
said
living with me.
to Ms. Donahue as said.
All right. This isn't, I hadn't started taking testimony yet. I'm going to do that now, unless there's something preliminary, Mr. Falley.
I don't think there is, Judge, no.
Okay, Ms. Donahue, would you raise your right hand, please? You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your full name for the record.
Nicole Marie Donahue.
Your son's name is Joshua?
Yes.
And how old is Joshua?
12 years old.
All right, yeah, before I put you under oath, you said your motivation for seeking a change in custody is in part because you believe that's what Joshua would like to see.
Yes, he has stated to me many times, and he has also told my mother what he would like.
All right, well,
And
Mr.
there's been
Falley,
other things.
hold on a minute. Mr. Falley objects to you testifying to what Joshua says he would like to do because that's hearsay, and that's a valid objection. But nevertheless, I understand that you believe that's his desire and that's your motivation. So I need to hear from you proofs in support of why I should be changing custody. Currently, since Mr. Wisner has primary physical custody, in order for me to change that custody, you must first establish, to my satisfaction, that there's been a material change in circumstance or other good cause that would justify me revisiting the issue of custody. So I need you to tell me what has changed between the time the last custody order was entered, which I believe was back in March of 2016, is that correct? The only thing that's changed since then is the amount of parenting time you get, but the custody itself has been with Mr. Wisner since at least March of 2016, is that correct?
Yes, I gave Joshua to his father in 2013, I believe it was.
All right. And then it was officially part of the a custody order in 2016. So since the 2016 custody order was entered, what has changed that you believe would justify the court revisiting the issue of custody?
Well, my situations have gotten a lot better. I'm currently living with my mother, helping her take care of my grandfather. I'm raising my daughter without any issues for the past 3 years of her life, almost 3 years of her life. I am in the same school district that Joshua goes to, so if he still with me, he'd still be able to go there. Um, Joshua's dad, Joseph, has not. He's hardly ever home. He's always gone, and I believe that Joshua could use that guidance. And I'm home. I receive SSI, so I'm home all the time with my daughter. So I'd be here with him. And there has been Joshua was out without his medication, which I sent the proofs in to you and to Joseph as well. He was off his ADHD medication for over a month and a half. I also got Joshua into counseling because I have continuously asked Joseph to put Joshua in counseling for the past 3 years, and it's always been excuse after excuse. So when I took him into the doctors and I got him back on his meds and I talked to his doctor about getting him into counseling, I also sent you the proof of the counseling form that I filled out and signed and took him to. The counselor also wanted.
Let me stop you. Let's take these one at a time. Mr. Wisner not being home to care for Joshua. What's your source of information, first of all?
I have numerous text messages back and forth that when I've asked him if he's home, he's never home. When I go to pick Joshua up, every time I pick Joshua up, he's never home or he's always leaving. Joseph's ex-wife, she's even.
Hold on. Do you know where he is when he's not home?
They say he's working half the time. I'm not really 100% sure.
Do you know where he works?
No, I don't.
So you don't know what his work hours are?
No.
So
all I know is every time I talk to him, he says he's working.
Your parenting time is on your weekend parenting time is on alternating weekends from Friday evening until Sunday evening?
Yes.
So how do you get Joshua? Do you pick him up, or does Mr. Wisner drop him off? I always
pick him up and drop him off every time.
So where is he when you pick him up?
At his dad's house with his father's ex-wife.
All right. So when you go to pick him up, do you normally see Mr. Wisner there?
No. And if I do, he's always leaving at that point.
So do you have interaction with someone else at the household when you do your pickups?
Yes, Jody Peterson, his ex-wife.
How about when you drop him off on Sundays? Is Mr. Wisner there when you drop him off?
No.
Never?
Probably about 80% of the time he's never there.
Has Mr. Wisner ever told you where he is on any of these occasions?
Anytime I've asked him, he's always at work. If I've called him about a situation that I needed to talk to him about for Joshua, he's always at work or he never answers me. So I'm not sure. He's been very bad at responding to any of my text messages or phone calls.
Do you know if he works on Sundays?
Joshua, I'm not 100% sure from Joseph's point, but Joshua has told me that his dad does work on most weekends.
So, do you also get a midweek visit
Yes, Thursdays.
Thursdays? And what is that again? You pick your son up
I
at
pick
the
him up
beginning and then,
after school. I pick him up after school and I take him home at 8 o'clock.
all right, so do you pick him up directly from the school?
No, I pick him up from his dad's house because his dad's house is right next to the school. So that way he has
Okay.
time to change his school clothes.
When you pick him up on Thursday nights, is his dad ever around?
No,
And when you bring him back Thursday evening, is his dad around?
no.
Okay, so let's see. You mentioned, so where does Joshua go to school?
Columbia. It's in
And what grade
Brooklyn.
is, what grade
Sixth
is he
grade.
in?
6th?
So that's at the middle school?
Yes, I believe so.
Upper elementary.
Do you know his teacher's name?
No, I do not.
Do you know how he's doing in school?
Joshua, I've asked Joshua how he's doing, and he says he's really doing good and he likes it a lot.
You don't see his grades?
No, they don't ever give me any of that information.
Have you asked for it?
No. Well, Joshua just started out there, and he also was quarantined for 2 weeks, so he hasn't even really been in school that long.
How about last year when he was in 5th grade? Who was his teacher?
Yeah. I don't remember her name, but I did see his grades because I went and picked up his report card along with his homework and stuff when he was going there, and they were doing the packets after they took the kids out of school, and his grades were really good.
Okay, so and you indicate you currently live in the Columbia School District,
Yes.
and where do you live? What's the address?
11255 Watkins Road.
Who else lives at that address?
My sister, my daughter, my mother, and my grandfather.
Whose house is it?
It's my grandfather's.
How many bedrooms there?
It's a 4-bedroom house with a full basement.
I can hear somebody talking in the background. That's totally inappropriate. If there's somebody coaching you with answers, they need to stop. Okay, 4 bedrooms. So I'm assuming your mother has one of those bedrooms.
Yes.
Your grandfather has one.
Yes.
Your sister
Well,
has.
he sleeps in the my grandfather usually sleeps in his chair in the living room.
But does he have a bedroom?
Yes.
Does anyone else sleep in his bedroom?
No.
All right. And let's see, that leaves, I can't remember if you asked her, your sister has a bedroom,
Yes.
And so you have the fourth bedroom?
Yes, I'm in the basement, and so is my sister. There's there's a bedroom also in the basement.
So do you and your sister share a bedroom?
No, she has her own room. There's 4 bedrooms upstairs, and there's the full basement, and I'm in the basement.
I got you. So actually, the basement is being used as a bedroom, but there are 4 other bedrooms in the house besides that.
Yes.
All right, and you stay in the basement?
Yes.
Your daughter stays in the basement?
She stays in my mom's room with my mom.
Where does Joshua sleep when he's there?
He has his own room.
So he has one of the 4 bedrooms that's upstairs.
Yes.
Does he share that bedroom with anyone else?
No.
So he's only there every other weekend. The bedroom isn't used when he's not there?
No.
Okay, so let's back up. You indicated that there was a period of time when Joshua was not receiving his medications. First of all, what medications are you referring to?
His ADHD medication. I don't have the name written down. It's a kind of a hard name to pronounce.
How long has he been prescribed ADHD medication?
As far as I know, since the last school year.
Do you know who prescribes it to him?
His doctor at Center for Family Health.
So you did provide the court with some exhibits. Did you provide copies for Mr. Fallahy as well?
I sent him emails of everything I sent you to Joseph Wisner.
All right, so I've got, well, let me see if I can figure out what I've got here. It looks like a copy of some medical records. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages. First page shows the HFCC CFH, which I believe stands for Center for Family Health Pediatrics for Joshua Joseph Wisner. Do you have that, Mr. Fallahy?
I don't, Your Honor. I was just looking at my email and I asked my client. He's indicated that he received some emails from Ms. Donahue, but I have not received any, and so I don't know what you're referencing, and I have not been able to look at any of those documents.
All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have Peter scan these. And then I will put them up on the screen so you get a chance to look at them. Let me see if.
I just sent Mr. Fallahy the email with the attachments.
Oh, okay. Peter says he just forwarded it to you. Can you forward it to me, Peter, so I can pull them up on the screen?
Yeah, it includes a message from Ms. Howard.
Yeah, that's fine. As long as is it all just one single attachment?
No, it's multiple attachments.
Okay. Well, let me pull that up. If we're going to be introducing exhibits, Mr. Fallahy needs to see them. All right, just in the order that they appeared in the email, the first thing I opened up was something that was titled after visit summary. Do you see that, Mr. Fallahy?
I do, Your Honor, yes.
All right. Is it necessary for me to share the screen, or is that sufficient for your purposes?
Let me take a quick look here. No, this is sufficient in terms of being able to review it. I can just look at it on the computer. I don't need you to share the screen.
All right. So let's call this Plaintiff's Exhibit 1. And Shannon, I'll give you a hard copy that you can mark. Just want to make sure I'm looking at the same thing. I believe this is it. Okay. It says page 1 of 4. All right. So, Ms. Donahue, this is a record that you obtained from the Center for Family Health pertaining to Joshua?
Yes.
All right, it reflects a visit on April 14th of 2020. With Dr. Chen. And the purpose, it says, for today's visit is for ADHD. And there's a list of medications. Albuterol, that's with the nebulizer. Does he have asthma?
I was never aware of it, and when I took him into the doctors in July, they had asked me, and I had known nothing about it. And as far as I know, I have never seen Joshua use an inhaler.
That's not something that Mr. Wisner ever brought to your attention?
No.
All right, and then there's several references to dexmethylphenidate. It says commonly known as Focalin XR. Do you understand that to be his ADHD medication?
Just 1 second. My mother went to go grab the papers. I thought I had them right here. I got to look at them and double check. Like I said, the medication isn't very easy to pronounce.
That is correct.
May I run and grab those
Of course.
papers?
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm so sorry about that. I thought I had them here with me. Yeah, the Folican is his ADHD medication.
And dosages of that medication, it looks like were changed at this appointment?
Well, I know they had him on 20 milligrams, and they've also had him on 30 milligrams. I didn't feel that he needed the 30 milligrams, so I just kept it at the 20 when I took him in.
Well, let me back up. Did you take him in for this visit in April, on April 14th of
No.
2020?
No, his father or one of them took him to that one.
Okay. But it's clear from these, well, Mr. Fallahy, do you have any objection to my admission of plaintiff's one?
Objection, Your Honor.
All right, plaintiff's one is admitted. I'm looking at this, page 2. It shows there's a reference to his asthma action plan. It looks like it calls for a yearly evaluation. And according to this note, it's been overdue since May of 2012, which I would assume to be the last time he was taken in for review of his asthma. It doesn't look like there's any other mention of the asthma other than the albuterol. Which is showing as part of his medication list. But your testimony is you never knew he had asthma, and you've never been provided with any medications to treat his asthma.
Correct.
Does he ever, when he's with you, demonstrate wheezing or shortness of breath?
No.
Is it possible in your mind that this is simply something that he's outgrown?
It could be. There could be a number of things of why he had it. I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, nobody had even mentioned it to me until I took him into the doctor, and the doctor asked.
All right. So it looks like his dental exam has been overdue since February of 2020. And dental treatment. Do you ever take him in for dental care?
No, I have not, Your Honor. I was told by Joseph that he was doing that.
All right. So at some point, you said you became aware that he was not taking his medication for ADHD. When did you learn of that?
It was in May. I think it was the end of May, the beginning of June. I kept asking Joseph why Joshua did not have his medication when he came with me, and it was well, I'm waiting for the doctor to call, or I got to make an appointment, and then all this stuff. So, and I took it upon myself. One of the days I picked Joshua up, and I called the doctor and got him an appointment and took him in July.
Okay, so your awareness of the ADHD was that he took medications for it, and were pills sent with him when he came to your house on the weekend visits?
Normally, yes.
But at some point, he wasn't bringing those meds with him?
Yes.
Okay, so let's take a look at the next exhibit. It's another after visit summary. This one shows July 24th of 2020. This is when you took him in for an appointment?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Fallahy, do you have that in front of you?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
All right, there's some handwriting on it that's not part of the document that I will be disregarding. You can testify to it, ma'am, but it's not part of the record. Again, this is Joseph's after visit summary that you obtained when you took him in for the appointment on July 24th.
Correct.
We'll have this marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 2. Mr. Fallahy, any objection to the admission of Exhibit 2?
No, Your Honor.
And so if I remember your testimony correctly, when you took him in on July 24th, the reason for you taking him in is you were aware that he was not taking his medication for ADHD, and that had been going on for some period of time.
Correct.
Do you remember for how long that you were aware that he wasn't taking his medications?
I know it for a fact it was at least a month and a half to close to 2 months.
And did you notice any changes in his behavior during the period that he was not taking the medication?
Yes.
What did you notice?
He was a little more rambunctious, and he didn't know how to settle himself down, and was getting, a little carried away with things and stuff. But I have been able to work with Joshua on keeping him calm and, getting him to understand. But I do know that with ADHD medication, you're not supposed to stop it in mid taking it for a long period of time. So I was concerned about that.
So you were present with him for the appointment with Dr. Chen on the 24th?
Yes, I was.
And it looks like, as of that visit, according to page 3, that Dr. Chen modified the albuterol prescription. You remember that?
Yeah, he said that it's because, like I said, Joshua has, and as far as I know, ever since I've had visitations with Joshua for the past 3 years, he's never had an inhaler. And Joshua has told the doctor himself that he didn't need it and that he hadn't used it in some time, so they were taking that off.
And it looks like there was a change to the Focalin, the ADHD medication. Did you have that prescription filled?
Yeah, yes, I did.
And from that point forward, did you make sure that Joshua was getting his, at least when he was with you, getting his ADHD medication?
Yes, and I have also been in contact with Joseph Wisner's ex-wife to make sure Joshua is making it to his appointments and getting his stuff taken care of.
Okay.
I had informed them that if there was ever a time that they could not take him, I would be able to, and they have been making his appointments from now on.
All right. The third document that you provided, well, let me make sure it's the third one. Looks like an informed consent form for treatment. Hard to make out the date on it, but it looks like it was from May. Did you take
No,
him in
that's
for
my
a-
birthday. No,
Oh, date of
that's
birth.
the
You're right. I see that. I'm
I
sorry.
took him in August 8/19 of 20.
Okay. Well, give me just a sec. I saw there was one other attachment. Let me. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and get this marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 3. You have that document, Mr. Fallahy?
It was in the email sent to me by your court officer, yes.
Okay. This is the informed consent for treatment form. Any objection to its admission, Mr. Fallahy?
I can just have 1 second, Judge. No objection, Your Honor.
3 is admitted, and let's go ahead and get the last one marked. Need to pull that up. And this is a multi-page document. Progress notes from the April 14 visit, I think. Hold on. Oh, no, I see. This is from multiple visits. So there's reference to the April 14th visit. There's reference to the July 24th visit. Looks like some lab tests were done. Yes. So, ma'am, these are all part of Joseph's medical records from the Center for Family Health.
Joshua's, yes.
Yeah, Joshua's, I'm sorry, I misspoke. All right, let's mark this as plaintiff's 4 then. Then, any objection to its admission, Mr. Fallahy?
Just 1 sec, Judge, please. I'm going to talk to my client. Objection, Your Honor.
Okay, 4 is admitted. So we've talked about the records from the April visit that you were not at, and about the August visit or July visit that you were at. You indicated that you took him back again in August. There apparently aren't any records for that visit, but what occurred in August when you took him back?
No, in August was because I talked to when I took him in July, I talked to his doctor about getting him into counseling, and they set me up a number with a day with their counselor. And so in August is when I went in and I signed a consent form and met with the counselor that Joshua now sees at Center for Family Health.
Oh, okay. What's that counselor's
I
name?
um oh Pruitt, I believe was his name.
Why
It's
did
kind
you
of hard to
believe
read
that?
right here.
Why did you believe that Joshua was in need of counseling?
Joshua's he's still having a hard time working through the not understanding why he doesn't get to see his brothers that were adopted out. He doesn't understand why he can't live with me, and he has some issues going on with just emotional issues with a lot of things. And I truly believe that until Joshua learns to talk and deal with the case that happened with his brothers and everything else, it's going to affect him.
So I'm looking at Exhibit 4, first page. It reflects a history that you provided. And it confirms what you just testified to. He misses his brothers. You indicated that he sometimes gets agitated by little things.
Yes.
But then it says, Mom not as worried of his behaviors as much as his dad. Can you explain that, please?
Well, his dad seems to have more of the issues with him than I do. When I have Joshua, I don't have that many issues, but I also sit down and I talk to Joshua and I let him express himself. I'm not sure why they have all the issues that they have with him.
But
And I've spoken
let
with
me let me let
Ms.
me
Peterson, and she's
let me stop you. Okay. I think I know where you're headed, but I want to get this in an orderly fashion. It says in here that his dad mentions that he gets agitated easily. Mr. Wisner was not present at this appointment, correct?
correct.
So you're reporting to the doctor what you've heard from his dad's household about
Correct.
him getting agitated easily. Did that come directly from Mr. Wisner, or did you get that from someone else at the household?
Yes, he has told me multiple times that about Joshua getting agitated very quickly, and so has his ex-wife, Mrs. Peterson.
All right. All right, and prior to this appointment, did you discuss with Mr. Wisner the need for Joshua to get counseling?
Yes, I've spoken with Mr. Wisner about this numerous times, actually.
Was it something he was opposed to?
No, he agreed that Joshua needed it, but every time I turned around, it was um an insurance thing one time, and the next was he tried to tell me that a counselor told him there was nothing she could do for Joshua, and I've expressed to him, just give me the insurance information and I would be more than happy to find a counselor for him and get him started. But when I talked to the doctor and I found out they could get him started in counseling, I went through with that because
Okay.
I've never been able to get anywhere with Joseph.
All right. So he was not opposed to you making these arrangements for counseling, correct?
No, correct.
And so Joshua has been seeing a counselor now since when? When was his first appointment?
I believe his first appointment was set up in September. It was either August or September. They had taken him to his appointment, his first appointment.
When you say they, you mean Mr. Wisner or his, is it his wife?
His ex-wife. It's his ex-wife. They just live with her.
Oh, I got you. Okay. But I'm with you. What's her name?
Jody.
Jody. So Jody ended up taking Joshua to his first counseling appointment?
Yes, as far as I know.
All right. And how often are the appointments?
As far as I know, they're every other week, I believe. I have spoken to Joshua myself to see make sure he's likes his counselor and that he's been going, and he said it's usually the week of the week that I get him.
All right, but these appointments are during the week, so that's why you're not taking him?
No, I've offered to take them, but they have been making the appointments since I got them started.
Okay.
They have just taken it upon themselves to make the appointments. I've offered that I could take him.
Have you spoken to the therapist?
I have once. I've called to see how Joshua's doing, and he said Joshua's doing really well. And talking to him, and they're working on things. Your Honor, there was also one thing I did want to mention. The very first appointment when I went into the counselor wanted to speak with the adults, the parents of Joshua, and I had let Jody and Joseph both know at least 2 to 3 weeks in advance, and they said they were gonna show up, and neither one showed up. They actually sent Joseph's mother, Teresa. So I was the only one other than Joshua's grandmother that showed up.
So this was this was before his first session. This was the first meeting with the therapist.
Correct.
All right. So you met with the therapist along with Joseph's mother, Joshua's grandmother?
Correct.
All right. Okay, so let me go back, make sure I've covered all of the issues that you believe constitute a sufficient basis for the court to revisit custody. I think we've covered them. Joshua not getting his ADHD medicine, so you had to intervene. Joshua's need of counseling, and you're the one who had to initiate that because it wasn't happening. And then you've already mentioned what you understand is Joshua's desire to live with you. Is there anything else in terms of a change in circumstance or other good cause that you believe would be sufficient for the court to revisit the issue of custody?
Not really. All I can say is I really think it would just be in Joshua's best interest.
All right. So what I'm going to do at this point, because I have to address this threshold before I do anything else, I want to give Mr. Fallahy an opportunity to cross-examine you on these issues. So go ahead, Mr. Fallahy.
Thank you, Judge. And I don't know which way you're leaning, but I guess that before I start my cross-examination, I'd ask the court to consider dismissing the motion at this time. Ms. Donahue indicated that Josh was doing well in school and his therapist has indicated he's doing well. There's no indication that he's not doing well in life. Even if you take everything that she indicated as true, which it's our position that it's not, but even if you take all those things as true, what's the main life event? What has happened that would lead the court to change, custody in this case? I just don't think that there is proper cause or change in circumstances. So I guess we'd ask the court to dismiss it at this point. If the court's not inclined to do that, then I guess I would just like to reserve the ability to cross-examine Ms. Donahue.
So, Ms. Donahue, essentially what Mr. Fallahy is asking is that, what he's arguing is that you've not met the evidentiary threshold that would justify me to even entertain a motion for change of custody. I realize you're not a lawyer, but that is the legal standard that the court has to face. I can't just revisit custody whenever either parent decides they'd like me to revisit custody. There must be substantial change in circumstance or other good cause. The things you've identified, certainly it is an issue if he wasn't being provided with his medications, although it appears that's been addressed. He wasn't being engaged in counseling, which apparently you both agreed would be helpful, but he's in counseling and he's doing well. Mr. Fallahy's argument is that factually you haven't met the threshold for me to entertain a motion to change custody. So again, I realize you're not a lawyer, but I'm going to give you a chance to say anything more that you have to say about these issues before I rule on Mr. Fallahy's request.
Okay, there was one other thing I forgot to bring up that I needed to address was, for the past 3 years that I've been seeing Joshua, I've been trying to figure out, anytime he gets in trouble or gets scolded, anything, he flinches. And I've been trying to find out why. And come to find out, I finally come down to the bottom of it a few weeks ago. He told my mom,
and I object to anything that the child said to Ms. Donahue's mother as hearsay.
Hold on a minute.
My mother can testify to it.
Well, the problem is the problem is that's still hearsay. You could certainly testify to him flinching. Tell me what you mean by that.
Okay, so he flinches like somebody's going to hit him. And we tried to figure out what's going on. And Joshua said that Jody's son, Brett, would flinch at him and threaten to hit him because they allowed him to beat on Joshua.
And Your Honor, I object.
A few years ago.
If this isn't firsthand knowledge that Ms. Donahue has, then I object to the
It is hearsay. Do you know if this is anything that's been addressed in counseling?
I'm not 100% sure. I told Joshua he needs to speak with his counselor about it. I tried to speak with Mr. Wisner about it. I've sent him a message and he completely ignores it. So I've tried to address this with at least Mr. Wisner and he completely ignores me. And Your Honor, there's one thing. If there cannot be a change of custody to full custody, I'm also asking if maybe we could change it to 50-50, 1 week on and 1 week off. I would love to have more time with my son.
Well, again, that's more than just a change in parenting time. That's a change in custody, and it's the same threshold that still applies.
Judge, if I may respond briefly, as the court's aware, the therapist for the child is a mandatory reporter. If this child was reporting anything to that therapist that would indicate to the therapist that there's some amount of child abuse or neglect going on, then that therapist is going to report that information to the appropriate authorities, including Child Protective Services. So my understanding is that's never happened. So even, again, if we take what Ms. Donahue indicated to be a fact, even though we dispute that, I still don't think it gets to the level of anything more than normal life changes that don't rise to the level necessary to change custody as described in Bud Barca.
All right, well, I'm sorry, ma'am, but I'm gonna have to grant Mr. Fallahy's request. I don't believe you've met the legal threshold that must be met. I will tell you that if something comes out during Joshua's therapy that indicates he's being mistreated at his father's home, you could certainly bring a new motion at that point. But at this point, I have no choice but to dismiss your motion because the evidentiary threshold has not been met. And I appreciate that you'd like to spend more time with your son. I would encourage Mr. Wisner, if that indeed is the case, and he benefits from time with his mother, you should be concerned about what's in your son's best interest. And if he wants to spend more time with his mother, that's something you should give serious consideration to. But in terms of me ordering it today, the threshold hasn't been met. I have no choice but to dismiss the motion. Thank you.
Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, there was one thing where they were asking me to pay his attorney fees. I live on SSI. There's no way I can afford that.
I'm not awarding any attorney fees, ma'am. You don't need to worry about that.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge. I'll prepare an order.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
You too. Okay, let's see. We've got a adoption matter. This is, let's see. I need to turn off my live stream.